Hi everyone, welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. In this video we're going to be talking about the Temple Mount, and it looks like there's a lot of things going on there as of late. So if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video. If you end up liking it, hit the notification bell, and please do make sure to leave your comments. So on Facebook I follow the Temple Institute. They're the ones that have all the instruments and all the tools and everything ready to be used in the third temple. They have the construction plans and everything, and their intent is to build the third temple. And so they closely follow everything that's going on in Jerusalem, and specifically with the Temple Mount. And it seems that the Jewish people there are getting more and more daring with going to the Temple Mount and kind of having a presence there. In this post from the Temple Institute, they note that record 6,000 Jews on the Temple Mount over month of Tishri. Over the just concluded Hebrew month of Tishri, a record number of 6,000 Jews ascended the Temple Mount in purity. This is the largest number of Jews to visit the Temple Mount in a single month since the destruction of the Holy Temple 2,000 years ago. And then it has the times that non-Muslims can visit the Temple Mount. So, I feel like things are escalating. I feel like this is a sign of the times. I'm going to actually go on to talk about some things that have happened in court in regards to the Temple Mount. So basically, you have people that are, like I said, are being more and more daring. One of my first videos that I did on this channel was on a man named Yair Levi. He was the first Levite to sing on the Temple Mount in 2,000 years. And that just happened just a couple months ago. I can't remember exactly when, but I think it's been a couple months. So not only do we have the most Jews ever visiting the Temple Mount in 2,000 years, we also have a Levite that sung there for the first time in 2,000 years. And then we have a lot of things like this going on where this lady, I actually watched this video. She displayed an Israeli flag. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to have religious items with you when you visit the Temple Mount. The police will come and arrest you. And yeah, so I would recommend following the Temple Institute for information like this. So there was a recent incident where there was a man that was basically barred from the Temple Mount. Recently, this was like just a day ago. Okay, so it says here, Palestinians outraged over court ruling allowing Jewish prayer on the Temple Mount. Palestinians expressed outrage and warned of an escalation on Thursday after a court ruling on Wednesday implied support for allowing quiet prayer by Jewish visitors on the Temple Mount. The first such official recognition of the practice, which has gone relatively undisturbed for the past year and a half. On Wednesday, the Jerusalem Magistrates Court heard the appeal of Aryeh Lippo, a Jewish visitor to the Temple Mount who had been removed and distanced from the complex for 15 days after a police officer ordered him to stop praying during a visit on Yom Kippur. Now, basically what happened here is, just like we just read, he got removed from the Temple Mount and he was barred for 15 days. He made an appeal in court. It's interesting that he was there on Yom Kippur, because if this does become a much bigger story, then that's interesting, because this Yom Kippur, we're in a sabbatical year right now. And Yom Kippur, which is the Day of Atonement, is the holiest day to Jews. And right now is a really ripe time, I would say, for things to happen in regards to the second coming, signs of the times, things happening in the world. Okay, and I don't know if this is going to turn into anything. As I was doing the research for this video, at first, there were a couple articles talking about how this happened. This was like a lower court that made this decision, but just like 40 minutes ago, this article came out, and a higher court reinstated the police ban on Jewish man who prayed on the Temple Mount, and basically reversed the decision. But I still want to go over this, because there's some good information, and it'll give us kind of like a better understanding of the situation there in Jerusalem. After watching a recording of the incident, Justice Bilha Yahalom ruled that the appellant's behavior did not violate the law or police instructions on the Temple Mount, as he was praying without a crowd and quietly in a way that was not external or visible. The ruling stated as well that Israel police did not dispute that Lippo, like many others, prays on a daily basis on the Temple Mount. The justice additionally dismissed the notion that Lippo posed any danger or committed any violation with his quiet prayer, despite claims by police to the contrary. While the High Court of Justice has ruled in the past that Jews do have the legal right to pray on the Temple Mount, police have cited security concerns to impose a blanket prohibition on Jewish prayer. Jewish visitors to the site are informed upon entry that prayer and religious items such as prayer books or prayer shawls are forbidden in the complex. Although since late 2019, Jewish visitors have been able to pray quietly in certain parts of the site, relatively undisturbed. Shai Gleek, CEO of the B'Tselemo NGO, welcomed the ruling on Wednesday, calling it the first time that it was explicitly stated that Jews have the full right to pray on the Temple Mount. I am sure that from now on, Israel police will understand and internalize this, and the prayers will continue as normal, said Gleek. Well, as of right now, as of the time that this video is being recorded, it's been shot down. So, but I think it was still significant, and who knows what might happen after this, or maybe this whole story will just die. Who knows? But he did say that this was the first time that it was explicitly stated. Even if it was shot down, it got to this point. This is kind of like I would call it maybe an escalation. Like I said, getting more daring, more comfortable with kind of having a presence on the Temple Mount. And I think that's kind of a big deal. Let's see, saying it legalized what has already been practiced on the Temple Mount for the past year and allows Jews to pray at the site. It's inconceivable that Jews in the Temple Mount area should not be allowed to mumble and pray, even silently, when Muslims on the mountain are allowed to do everything: pray, demand, play football, and riot, while the police do not prevent this. And Jews should feel like strangers in the holy place, said Polsky. The court ruling has drawn outrage from Jordanians and Palestinians, with warnings that such moves could escalate the situation in the region. So I'm assuming that since the court ruling was reversed, maybe things will calm down, but I'm sure they're probably not feeling too good, because I think that on their side, they're probably seeing that this is happening. They've already been concerned about settlers settling what's supposed to be West Bank land or Palestinian land in Gaza. Well, no, they're not. I don't think they're doing settlements in the Gaza Strip. Most of what I've read, I think it's mostly in the West Bank, and that's like the main concern. But Israel's been doing a lot of that kind of thing, and now a lot more is going on with the Temple Mount. You know, and I'm sure that you already know, if you're interested in this kind of thing, you've probably seen on other channels how they've already consecrated the altar, and I think the cornerstone for the temple. So like they're wanting to get underway, and you know, I don't know that we have necessarily the whole story here, but from what we can see from this story, and then what we were looking at over here with the record 6,000 Jews on the Temple Mount, there may be things going on beneath the surface that maybe we don't know about. But anyway, let's continue. The Hamas movement called the ruling a clear declaration of war and a blatant aggression against the blessed al-Aqsa mosque on Thursday. The Palestinian Islamic Jihad. I've never heard of this group before now. I haven't heard of them. Movement, the PIJ, also expressed outrage against the decision, calling it invalid and an attack on the sanctity of Al-Aqsa Mosque and the pure right of Muslims to it. The Palestinian governor of Jerusalem, Adnan Gaith warned that the decision to allow quiet prayer set a dangerous precedent and claimed that the decision was part of an effort to divide the complex to prepare for the building of the third temple, according to the Palestinian Safa News. That may actually be a pretty valid concern because, you know, I don't know if there's like a grand master plan by like people involved with the Temple Institute or like certain powerful rabbis. Like, I don't know enough about it, but I guess that would be probably a good strategy if they were wanting to claim a piece of the Temple Mount, is to like slowly over time have more and more presence in like, and to change the status quo essentially to where it becomes normal to now have, you know, Jews there all the time and in large numbers. And I don't know. We're just going to have to watch and see what happens. This was a delegation to Egypt. The delegation also warned that the situation would explode as it did in May during Operation Guardian of the Walls, which, if you'll recall, there was that like 11-day conflict a lot of people were worried about, but thankfully it only lasted for 11 days. Due to what it called continuous Israeli violations and crimes in Jerusalem and against prisoners, as well as the continuation of settlement building, according to Safa News. The controversy also comes after a recent uptick in violence in the West Bank and Jerusalem. In a week after 8 Palestinians were killed by Israeli gunfire in the West Bank and Gaza Strip, including 3 Hamas operatives and 3 PIJ operatives. What we just read, the Palestinian, what was it? Palestinian Islamic Jihad, PIJ. There are a few things on here I wanted to just kind of read. Barlev noted that police have appealed the ruling, arguing that a change in the existing status quo will endanger public peace and could cause a flare-up. And that's almost certainly correct. It seems like if anything happens there, like there's a flare-up. Currently, only Muslims can pray on the site. The Temple Mount, known to legally, Jews can pray there, but they're basically prohibited from doing it in an obvious way, or anything that would upset the Muslims, right? So like legally they can, but in the interest of public safety, they're told that they can't. And then the police enforce that. The Temple Mount, known to Muslims as the Haram Al-Sharif, is the holiest site for Jews and site of the third holiest shrine in Islam. It is the emotional epicenter of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and tensions there helped ignite the 11-day Gaza war in May. Palestinians at the Temple Mount peacefully protested the ruling on Friday, denouncing its violation of the fragile status quo governing the Flashpoint compound. This is the judge of the lower court that made that initial ruling. Judge Bilha Yahalom's legal ruling was narrowly focused on overturning the man's ban from the plaza. I have not found that the religious acts carried out by the appellant were externalized and visible, she ruled, determining that such prayer did not violate police instructions. We already read this, and canceling his ban from the site. Police appealed the ruling, arguing that he engaged in improper conduct in public. Magistrate courts make up the lowest level of the Israeli judiciary and hear cases concerning relatively minor crimes. The Jordanian-run Islamic Waqf that oversees the site called the court's ruling a flagrant violation of the compound's sanctity and a clear provocation for Muslims worldwide. This decision also has no legitimacy because we do not recognize Israeli law on al-Aqsa, Mosque Director Sheikh Omar al-Kiswani told AFP. Minor changes to the status quo at the holy site, or even rumors of such changes, have sparked violent protests in the past. In 2017, a decision to place metal detectors and cameras at the compound following an attack there sparked several days of angry protests and condemnation from Israel's Muslim neighbors. Egypt announced the court's decision Thursday as a violation and said it helped deepen it helped deep concern, said it held deep concern about the consequences. Okay, now here's the thing. I guess there's kind of like a bit of a division within Jewry about even ascending the Temple Mount. And here's why. Mainstream rabbinical authorities oppose Jewish prayer and even visits to the Temple Mount, out of concern that visitors might tread on the area where the ancient Jewish temple's Holy of Holies stood, defiling it. Instead, Jewish worship is centered at the Western Wall plaza below. So I guess you have to wonder, you know, what are the lines? Like, what are the factions? Like, is there just like kind of like two schools of thought? Like one that, no, just don't even go up there. We don't want to defile the Holy of Holies. And then the other one's like, no, we need to have a presence there, and we need to, you know, take over the Temple Mount. Like, I don't know enough about it, but I'm going to keep my eyes on it. If you have any insights, put it in the comments below. In a ruling earlier this year on a petition demanding Temple Mount prayer rights for Jews, Israel's Supreme Court found that every Jew has the right to pray on the Temple Mount as part of the freedom of religion and expression. At the same time, these rights are not absolute and can be limited to take into account the public interest, meaning flare-ups and violence and stuff like that. So I'll put all these links in the description below. Let me know what you think in the comments. You know, I'm not really like advocating for anything. I'm just very interested in the situation. I always have been ever since I was little. Just kind of like I've always been interested in the Second Coming, and I've known from a very early age that Jerusalem in this situation is important. You know, I guess we don't know ultimately what's going to happen. I mean, we do. We know that a temple will be built in Jerusalem. There's people in the church that believe that it's going to be an LDS temple. It's going to be some, you know, the BYU Jerusalem Center, which I heard was debunked. I'd have to research that. I don't know. So there's some that think that the church in some way will build the temple or help build the temple. Others believe that the literal third temple that the Jews are trying to build is going to be the temple that is built. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be here on the Temple Mount. I have reason to believe that the city of David is the actual site of the temple. I've watched a lot of different things about it. I know that there's kind of like a division there, whether the Temple Mount is the actual side of the temple or if it was actually in the city of David. I just watched a video about a really good video from another channel. I can't remember the name of the channel, but I'll link that video below. I would recommend that you go watch it, because if somehow in some way whoever has the say in these matters, if they decide or realize that it should be in the city of David, which is like just south of the Temple Mount, essentially. It's like the neighborhood on the south side of the temple. Excuse me. If they realize that, then, I mean, they could start building the temple today, you know. And I'm not going to say that that's absolutely right. That's going to be like a topic for another time. But this whole thing is just very interesting. I think it's important to watch Jerusalem and the Temple Mount and Israel for signs of the times. And this may have been one of them. All right, so if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it, hit the notification bell, leave your comments, and I'll talk to you guys later.